What's up, guys? I want to quickly go over a couple things about the meet. First off, it was a very enjoyable experience, and it was a well-run meet, and there were actually more lifters than I anticipated. So the level of competition was pretty decent. For example, the second place finisher in my weight class actually benched, I believe, over 375 pounds. So overall, it ended up being very fun for myself because it was competitive, but it also wasn't a high-pressure meet like the national meet or the Arnold Classic coming up. And as far as my numbers specifically, I was extremely happy with the results because, as you guys know, going into this, my goal was to total over 1450 and to deadlift over 600 pounds. So I was able to accomplish both of those goals, and that's really all I could ask for. This is going to set me up very well for the Arnold Classic because I didn't actually peak for this meet. So the heaviest I deadlifted was only 505 for 2 sets of 6, and the heaviest I squatted was only 455 for sets of 6. And I could definitely feel that this affected me in the squat specifically because when I unracked the weight, it just felt extremely heavy. You can actually see when I back out and when I set up in my squat stance that it's not quite as smooth as it should be. And that's because I just haven't trained my nervous system to handle such heavy weights. Once I start working in lower rep ranges to peak for a meet, then I'll be more efficient at maxing out. So I'm hoping that come the Arnold Classic, I will start doing that more, and then I should be able to hit even bigger numbers, hopefully. Also, the reason why my bench press didn't progress at all since the national meet was because I did take 2 to 3 weeks off of benching entirely leading up to this meet. You guys know I made that video on using neutral grip dumbbell benches if you have shoulder pain from benching, and I've been taking my own advice because I have had pain ever since I benched 315 for 3 reps. I've had shoulder pain, actually a little bit before that too. I've had shoulder pain probably for a month and a half. So I just had to play it smart and just really take time off. And I knew it would affect this meet. But as I said, this really isn't a high pressure meet. So I'm focused more on the long run rather than trying to squeeze every pound I can onto my total just for this competition. What I am going to do moving forward with my bench press is I'm going to try using a slightly narrower grip and just see how that feels, because that is obviously going to be easier on my shoulders, but I'm also curious to see if I'll be slightly more powerful with a narrower grip as well. Another adjustment I'm going to make is on that last deadlift. The reason why I got one red light is because the bar started slipping out of my hand. So I'm going to stop using straps entirely now moving forward in my training and just really focus on making sure grip is not an issue. So overall, I'm feeling pretty good moving into my training for the Arnold Classic. And my goal for that is to total 1,500 pounds and to squat at least 250 kilograms, which is 551 pounds. As far as my deadlift goes, I really don't have any specific goal for the Arnold Classic. I just want to deadlift 650 by Raw Nationals. So I'm guessing somewhere in the 625 to 635 range would be the goal for the Arnold Classic. I also want to mention that my brother competed, and this was actually his first meet. And you may remember him from the Deadlift Bros video, but he did very well, especially for his first meet. He squatted, I believe, over 370, benched over 300 pounds, and deadlifted around 473, I believe. Alright guys, I want to end this video real quick by saying that if you're considering competing in powerlifting, that you should stop just thinking about it and really just look into a meet near you and actually try to get in one of these competitions. Because I've never seen someone who's competed who then has regretted competing or hasn't been satisfied. What always happens is that once you compete, you get extremely motivated moving forward. And if you do want to compete, I suggest that you look up the USAPL, and you can just Google USAPL powerlifting, and then you can find the calendar and you can find a meet near you. And I really suggest the USAPL because these are drug-tested meets, and they are by far the most strict and the most competitive federation there is. I also want to address a question that I get all the time, and that is people asking me if they're strong enough to compete in powerlifting. And that just really does not make sense. It's just not even the right question to ask because it doesn't matter. You can compete regardless of how strong you are. I think people have this preconceived idea of what powerlifting meets are like, and it just isn't like that at all. It's not like everyone's just always thinking, is this guy strong? Is this guy weak? There is a competitive aspect to it, but when it comes down to it, everyone's just focused on improving their own numbers. And there's such a wide variety of lifters. You'll see 60 to 70-year-old men lifting. You'll see 15-year-old girls lifting. So it really doesn't make sense to feel insecure about your lifts because it's not a judgmental atmosphere at these powerlifting meets. It's actually exactly the opposite. Everyone's always extremely supportive regardless of the weight that's on the bar. Alright, so that's it guys. Like the video, support the channel, subscribe if you haven't already, and thanks for watching guys. Peace!